Alright, so we are on the gimbal Falcon. We have the Max lens mod on. It is on. It is. What are you doing? I'm not sure what that was about. Stabilization is off on the GoPro. So it's just the gimbal doing it. But it's got the Max lens mod on, which is something you probably won't normally ever do. But I'm doing this real quick to show you what it looks like. So this is like with the stabilization off with the Max lens mod on. The gimbal is acting a little bit weird. It doesn't really like it too much with this heavy front lens on, but it manages it. It's under the weight, so it does manage it. This is a Disney Riviera resort for DVC Club. It's one of the newer resorts. It is now connected with the Skyliner, which goes over to Caribbean Beach, the Epcot. If you're interested, I used to work over there a long time ago. All right, so I'm gonna switch some stuff around here. Let's turn the Max lens mod stabilization on and go from there. So now we got the best of both worlds, I guess you could say. Horizon lock on and on the gimbal. Again, something you not normally ever would do. Kind of defeats the purpose of buying all the Max lens mod stuff, but here you go. All right, it does not like it. Every time I move the camera, it freaks out. Nope. I'm on horizon lock now, which it should be double wing. Okay, so let me just conclude from just doing this short test. There's no reason to use a Max lens mod with this gimbal. I would say it's not necessary, and it's going to cause more issues than what it's worth. So we are going to turn it off, take it off, put the regular old GoPro stuff on, and go from there. Okay, welcome. 5K horizon lock is on, gimbal is on, and we're rocking that way. So if you want to use it with a 5K and linear mode, lock on the horizon plus the gimbal, this is what you got. Alright, this should be pretty darn smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the stabilization on the GoPro. It should widen out. Alright, stabilization on the GoPro is turned off. Just using the gimbal now. So we're gonna look for it to have jitters, not really stable, anything that looks unpleasant to the eye. So I wanted to break in here real quick and let you know that as you see the footage, it's kind of jittery and jumpy. So the problem is the gimbal was not really balanced correctly, and I went ahead and got home and recalibrated the gimbal. We'll talk about that later on, but this is why the footage kind of looks kind of meh. So I'm not faulting the gimbal for this, I'm faulting my own. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this point, and no use of watching unproven footage. is stabilization turned off, wide, recalibrated, and adjusted to balance correctly. Let's see if it's more stable. Well, as you can tell, it's a lot more stable, so that was the main issue I had. So, continue on. So I kind of thought that this thing kind of out of the box would come ready to go for the GoPro Hero 9, but not really so. So kind of my fault. I kind of assumed some things that it would just be positioned for that, balanced correctly for that, but it's not. You really have to adjust it to make sure you got the couple of axes correct. All right, so I should have cropped in a little bit. But this is boost on a wide angle. This is not linear with a horizon lock. This is just regular old boost and wide. Go back this way. And then I will try it tonight, or whatever. I would try to go out at nighttime and film and get some better footage to see how it does at nighttime. The kind of reason why I would have this gimbal is for low light footage. This is me walking downstairs. Disney Riveria. Indoor lighting. And it's on a stabilization within the GoPro and on a gimbal. So, and for instance, this should not be very good. So, I'm gonna do one more flight, then turn off this, excuse the flip maps, turn off this stabilization. But it's pretty bright here, so let's see. Alright, so this is no stabilization, just a gimbal. Let's go outside. Yeah, we're gonna see the Skyliner. So again, this is what you would purchase this gimbal for. I have a GoPro. I also want to do some nighttime photography or low light stuff at night, and I want to have decent footage. I want to turn stabilization off and see what I get. What is really nice about this, after using it for a while, is how it just kind of like works together with the GoPro. Like you can leave it on the gimbal, turn it on and off, and just work with that. So even if you want to keep stabilization on, you can leave it all one big package. Because as soon as you turn on the gimbal, the camera turns on. You got the buttons on the side to control the camera. You can do it that way without having to fumbling around. But so far, I'm enjoying the setup. Now, GoPro, again, is not the camera that you use for nighttime photography. Photography. All right, let me show you what it looks like when you put stabilization on. Now I have stabilization on, horizon leveling, and it should have cropped in a little bit, and then you should see the difference in the footage. If you don't, then it's all for nothing. Now, obviously it's going to be stable, but look at the lights in the corners and let me know if it's actually going to be like moving around a little bit or how it looks like. All right, let me go ahead and turn it back off and show you that. So just a reminder here, again, it's not calibrated correctly, but you can just look at the lights and it's smoother on the edges. The lights are not as starburst. It's a little clearer around everywhere. So that's what you're going to get. It's different. Here's just me zooming through the room just for fun. Shows you different things you can do with the gimbal versus just handhold. That's a pretty sunset. So the stabilization is off. It's in linear mode. And this should have a very clear picture. Panning. Just watch the shutter effect. You'll see the difference once I put it on stabilization. So I'll do a little jog through here. Jog back. A little walk. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off and do the same thing. Okay, linear plus horizon leveling boost on. Again, I'm gonna pan. Do a little jog. Jog back. So what have I noticed? With stave off, you definitely get a little bit wider, but a little cleaner image, especially in the corners up in here. The lights look not as starbursty kind of thing. So that is a good benefit of having stabilization off. All right, a little jog. And let's do that with stave on. Lighting's better this way, make sure. All right, stabilization back on. And do a little jog. And other way. Okay. Before it gets any wetter, I'm gonna go back inside and add this to the long video of the second version of test footage. The stabilization is on. And we're gonna do this with both. Up and down, left and right. See if you see that warpiness. All right, let's turn it off. Down, light at the bottom. Stave is off. Pan, up and down, pan. Okay, I just want to kind of wrap up and give you my thoughts about owning this gimbal and is it needed. It's going to help out at night, the night footage. The night footage and the lights and stuff in the corners are going to look clear, and it won't have that jumble weird look in the corners. It'll be more of just a flat, clear. The best the GoPro can do with a small sensor and etc at night. Why would I use this? Well, it serves kind of two purposes, right? It's a remote and a handle for my GoPro. So if I'm going to walk and talk like this with the GoPro, I'm going to have a handle and some type of mount anyway. Or I could use this gimbal because it also works with the remote. And that's one thing I do like, is that once I get this thing set on here, I take it off, it's going to be balanced, ready to go right away. I don't have to rebalance the gimbal at all because I already have it set with the screws tightened up. Let's put the GoPro back on after I take it off to get the battery out or get the SD card out, put it back on, and we're good to go. And then it's so nice is that once you power off the gimbal, it powers off the GoPro. Once you power on the gimbal, it powers on the GoPro. The question that I have for myself still is, would I use this gimbal but also use some of the stabilization built in with the GoPro itself to make it even smoother? And I think I may, depending on the circumstance. So depending on my terrain, if I have a lot of like steps and rocks I'm walking over, things I know are gonna make my hand move and move back and forth, then I probably will use both the stabilization of the GoPro and the gimbal itself to get the best shot I can get. The gimbal makes it nice for like a flashlight mode. Low, bring it up. Very smooth transitions when you're going from up to down to up. As it moves in your hand, as it rotates, you can make your movements a lot smoother. Even though the GoPro, like, again, has an incredible stabilization nowadays, you really have to work on your movements, getting the camera to pan left, right, up, like up, down, that kind of thing. You can just do a lot more with a motorized gimbal than you can with your hand just moving the camera around. All right, got it in super view now with the stabilization turned off. So this is the widest angle you're gonna get on this GoPro. No stabe, super view mode, and it's in 4K. Now if I switch it to 2.7K or 1080, I'll get a little bit wider, but whatever. All right, to finalize my review on the Falcon by Inkee gimbal for the GoPro 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, Action, DJI Action, etc, etc. So my number one enjoyment of it was how it connected with the GoPro very easily, how it shut down the camera as soon as you press the power off here to shut off the gimbal, it shut down the camera, and then vice versa, when you power it back on, it powered back on with the GoPro. That way you can kind of set it up, leave it on there, throw it in your bag, and then start over again. That way you don't have to get the gimbal going and then repower the GoPro on the side, all that kind of stuff. You kind of hit it and go to work what you got to do. The other issue I didn't really go into too much was my connection with this to the phone app. I had a little trouble once this was connected to the GoPro and it talks to it that way. It didn't want to talk to the app anymore. It wouldn't recognize it. So what you had to do was go into your Bluetooth settings of your phone, forget the device, repair it, and when you did that, it connected. So you can either do your firmware update, you can do a recalibration, that kind of thing. But just realize, as of right now, until they've, I guess, fixed this, once you connect this back again to your GoPro, you have to do the same thing over again. I mean, it's not too often that you're going to use the app. The app is basically for just software updates, calibration, fine-tuning your gimbal a little bit, that kind of thing. It's nothing to do with footage or anything like that. So not a big deal, just a kind of little step around to get it to work. Good inexpensive gimbal for the GoPro or action cameras you have. I say go for it, especially if you're going to do any type of nighttime video with a GoPro. That's the camera you have, and that's what you're going to use. This is a good device to conquer that environment. All right, that's it for the Inkee Falcon. Any questions below, please leave them, and you have a nice day, and we'll see you on the next one. Please like, subscribe. Ba-boom.